It is Monday, September 12th. Many thanks for joining us on this very first edition of Prime News for this week. I am Eileen Sama. As part of measures to fight insecurity and the intake of hard drugs by youths, the divisional officer of Douala 4 and his team destroyed some hideouts of bandits in his area of command. The operation was carried out over the weekend, as Fon Quinter tells us.
From one neighborhood to another in Bonaberi Douala 4 subdivision of the Lithoa region, the newly installed divisional officer Fon Quinter and his team searched every nook and cranny to ensure potential hideouts for bandits and cannabis smokers are destroyed.
We have decided to come down today with my forces of law and order, in the sense that our population here in Bonaberi, in Douala 4, they have bad habits. So I wanted to say that I realized that our children cannot go freely to school because of this phenomenon of cannabis smoking. So that's why I say no, I cannot stay down. I will come down with my collaborators really to fight, to push out this bad phenomenon out of our subdivision.
The DO's outing was a fruitful one, as over 10 hideouts were identified and destroyed by law enforcement and municipal officials who accompanied him.
Identifies what they call ghettos. So we have 10 or 12 in this area, and today we are out to burn down all those ghettos in order to allow our children to go to school.
Most of the hideouts, constructed with bags and planks, had in them evidence such as drugs, pieces of papers, cards and lots more, clear proof that it is home to hoodlums. Residents have saluted the initiative of the divisional officer, as they will no longer live in fear.
I want small thing I talk for inside there and say.
This is what I have to say. The children in question smoke hard drugs and I don't have strength to send them away. Plus, I also have kids and their actions might implicate them, reasons I avoid them. I want to say the DO has done a great job.
They don't do fine.
The mission ended with the arrest of some suspects, while the structures were demolished and burned under the watchful eyes of the divisional officer of Douala 4 subdivision, Fon Quinter, who promised to visit other neighborhoods in his area of command for a similar exercise in the days ahead.
The loss of human lives, property, overflowing as well as landslides can be termed the devastating effects of the rainy season this year over the national territory. In a row, several bridges have been swept off by heavy rains and torrential floods, leaving communers stranded and desperate in some parts of the country. Christina completes that story.
The effects of climate change are being felt in most parts of Cameroon. Ebongambi, a locality in Mehmet division of the southwest region of Cameroon, is experiencing its worst effects of climate change. The lives of local farmers are in danger following the heavy downpour that capsulated a bridge in the locality.
Bridge, I guess, pipe. Some weeks behind. You see how people are struggling to cross with load on their head. This bridge is leading to a Bangabi village.
Last week, a landslide in Kumba almost claimed the life of a woman and her son. National Observatory for Climate Change in Cameroon has informed of the gravity of this year's rainy season. To some, this year's rains only look mystical, a claim scientists will call ignorance.
Il y a glissement de terrain au niveau. Madame, comment on dit?
Houses have been wrecked and flooded with material losses, with human lives lost in Lewo, a locality in Libialem division of the southwest region of Cameroon, where a landslide occurred because of heavy rains this year.
The Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, General of the Army Corps, René Claude Menka, has paid a working visit to the seaside region of the south of Cameroon. He was accompanied by his entourage to evaluate the execution of state projects entrusted into the hands of the Military Engineering Corps, which goes by the French name Génie Militaire. Get details in the following report with Dolingonde.
Military honors under a sunny sky at the entrance of the city of Kribi, which declines its beauty to receive the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, General of the Army Corps, René-Claude Meka, on a walking visit to the seaside town. He has been welcomed on his arrival by the local weapons commander, Colonel Amand Ambassa. This walking visit leads him to the locality of Lundi at a place called Pongo Aviation, 12 kilometers from Kribi, where the work of the Special Forces is being done. On the spot, General René-Claude Meka noted with all the delegation that accompanies him that the work carried out by the military engineers is largely advanced. The shell of the modern architecture has been completed and work is at the finishing stage, he mentioned. He then congratulated the contracting authority, Colonel Jackson Kamgan, Director of Military Engineering, tasking him further to continue the work with delicacy so that everything is ready before the end of the current year. After the site visit, guided by Colonel Antoine Kizito Bengono, Commander of the Special Forces, the Chief of the Defense Staff, General of the Army Corps, René-Claude Meka, chaired a strategic meeting with the local military authorities. From whence he moved to Ngandere in the Adamawa region for the same exercise.
Dolingonde reporting there. Now, some parents in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, have shared some of the difficulties they are facing in sending their children back to school 1 week after school resumption. Nicole Tako spoke with some of these parents in Douala and compiled the following report.
It is the second week of studies for the 2022-2023 academic year. While some students are already in class learning, some parents are yet to send theirs because of the economic hardship worsened by the increase in the prices of some basic commodities and school items. Madame Magdalene, a parent in the economic capital, shares her difficulties.
Things are very difficult in the way that we
send children to school to go and learn because it is important, but this time things are very difficult. We are unable to send them to school because the school fees have added. Books are expensive. I am on the road because I do not have a choice.
It's not an easy job to see. I am on the road because I don't have things to do.
These parents in the city of Douala are calling on the government to help regulate the prices of some school items which have become too expensive for them to purchase.
Education for our children is very nice because when they go to school like that,
education is good, but now there's no money to send them to school. It is difficult. Some children have not even started school because school materials are expensive. The government should intervene because many are still at home.
Many children are still at home.
Il faut que notre autorité peut nous aider aussi un peu. Parce que voilà la rentrée scolaire, mais c'est tellement dur.
The government can help us too. The prices of school items are too expensive. It is not really easy. I am a bike rider and I am out here suffering, hustling for passengers just to have money to send my son to school. I did not go to school, but I want my son to reach the highest level of education. Not ending up like me, but times are hard.
Vers l'avenir de mon fils, il faut que mes enfants fréquentent.
This other mother thinks despite the difficult times, parents need to go extra mile, for education is a very important and it is the best gift one can ever offer a child.
L'importance de l'éducation de nos jours est pour une jeune fille, par exemple.
In fact, education is very important today, even since the days of our parents, though they were not current. But it is important to send our children to school, even though life is difficult. A child has to know the basics of education, which is to read and write.
Parce qu'il est important de savoir au moins se lire et écrire.
Meantime, Parents who have the zeal to send their children to school but don't have the means hope for better days ahead.
In a related story, the Chariot Foundation has extended her largesse to some orphans in Boya to assist them go back to school fully prepared. The patron of the orphanage where the kids live, Madame Ebane, received her August guest over the weekend. Emmanuel C. reports from Boya.
It is another school here in this orphanage in Boya, where over 53 school-going children live and are being taken care of by this lady with just her pension.
For year, my own number depend on God. So that's why because I need my own pension, so I'm not for any single job. Oi, I do want to thank God for this day. So, with director of Chariot Hotel, they don't can give you plenty books there, so go back, give them, and even money, and the promise and promise will help this to give them.
This is the atmosphere of a new school here. Just like other similar acts, Mr. Ken Michael, former mayor of Moyoka Subdivision and CEO of the Chariot Foundation, have brought a smile to the faces of these children who have been here for so many years. He brought hope with him.
And all what it takes is a lot of effort, endurance, humility, respect. You are not the end of the road, despite the fact that you don't have your parents.
Smiling with surprise and thanking God that help has reached them, 14-year-old Claudette speaks out.
Limonga was such a thing like that. It's very surprising. We are very happy. The school bus, the money that he has given to our grandmother, will help us.
In this other center, the boys, who are now mostly grown-ups, were promised scholarships and even jobs after completing their studies by the Chariot Foundation.
Of the best student, I will need 10 students that we shall sponsor them.
The wind of the back-to-school fever can indeed be felt in every corner of the southwest region of Cameroon.
Now, over 35 children and 18 single mothers have been financially and materially assisted by the Chariot Limonga or Christina Limonga Endive Foundation. The aid was given them on Saturday, September 10, 2022 in Boya. Emmanuel C. once again from Boya.
Now running for 2 years, the Christina Limonga Endive Foundation have supported 18 single mothers and over 35 children of widows with seed capital for their businesses and school materials and fees for the 2022-2023 academic year. In memory of their late mom, the children of Nyango Christina Limonga Endive, who died in 2001, are bent on helping widows in their community.
We thought that because she was a widow in a very early stage in her life, and then brought us up actually as a single mother, we thought that the only way to remember her would be to touch women who are experiencing the same thing that she experienced when she was pregnant.
Marvin J. has benefited from this foundation when he started last year, 2021.
Since last year, this year, he's doing well. He's going to well.
After handing over the seed capital and school materials to the school-going children, the beneficiaries are grateful for this gift.
This help that they are giving to me and my mom, I pray that God will bless them and give them long life and helping them so that they can bless others to the world.
The Christina Limonga Endive Foundation is aimed at assisting the education of the children of single mothers and economically assist single mothers and counsel those in need with career opportunities. The foundation will be back again same time next year for a similar exercise.
Internally displaced children and motherless children have received back-to-school materials from a philanthropist, Madame Juvett of the Chariot Foundation in Kumba, Southwest region of Cameroon. The exercise took place on Friday in Kumba with calls for an effective academic year. Tamfo Sidwan reports.
Back to school, yeah.
Internally displaced and motherless children in Meme Division have received back-to-school materials from a philanthropist, Madame Juvett in collaboration with the Chariot Foundation as they head back to school for the 2022-2023 academic year.
Actually, it was initiated by one of my good friends, Madame Juvett, and her partners in the United Kingdom, for us to see how we can always support these less privileged children.
The donation over the weekend saw the children receiving books, bags, pens, pencils, rulers, and others, while also receiving words of encouragement from the donors who promised to remain supportive to them.
Supporting less privileged children for back to school, it's a common custom that we have been doing for some years now. And the reason is because we want every child to feel the same impact.
Belinda Maya is a disabled lady and founder of Chariot Foundation. She explained that the donation in the various orphanages in Kumba was in line with their objective to assist these children to have quality education like all other children in Kumba and the entire division.
Our aim is to ensure that every child enjoys education on an equal basis like any other child, irrespective of whether you're in an orphanage or not. So that was why I and Madame Juvett and her partners, we came up with this initiative to support these children on how they can go back to school.
Beneficiaries in the various orphanage homes expressed joy and declared that the items will be of help to them. They also prayed the organizers extend their humanitarian actions to other needy people around Meme Division and the Southwest region.
We are so much grateful. There's a lot of excitement as far as the children are concerned. So we really want to say we appreciate and will not relent also in putting you people in our prayers.
And from Madame Juvett for 3 years now. And we want to show our gratitude because we are really happy. It's not easy for us. When they come to our aid like that, it shows that they have us at heart.
There are more calls for other organizations to step in and assist internally displaced and motherless children in Meme Division, especially at the time when the Anglophone crisis continues in this part of the country.
On today's human interest story, a set of conjoined twins in their need of support from the general public have received a token from the BT Media Foundation and other goodwill ambassadors following an SOS cry from their parents after a successful operation in Turkey sponsored by the government of Cameroon. The donation call was launched during Prime Hour, a TV talk show on My Media Prime Television last Friday. Get details right ahead.
Elizabeth and Mary are the names of the twin daughters of Mr. and Mrs. Ekane, a Cameroonian couple based in Yaoundé. They were born as conjoined twins in their need of a medical surgery to separate them as they were joined in the buttocks and spine. According to Mr. Ekane, the situation of the kids was only discovered when their mother gave birth after a series of echographies carried out.
First of all, when my wife was pregnant, she did several scans, but none showed that my wife was carrying conjoined twins.
Okay.
Yes, it's only when during delivery, because she gave birth through cesarean section, it's during that period that we discovered that when the doctor, the gynecologist, discovered herself that they were conjoined.
Mr. Ekane added that he was shocked to the core when he saw the kids, but that the joy and amazing grace of the Lord kept him and his wife going.
God is powerful.
Okay.
Yes, God is powerful, because if I can imagine how they were being joined in my wife's womb, and my wife carried them, and they had weight. Yes. And God kept them alive with my wife. I give glory to God.
Although this couple was expecting a set of twins, they had no idea what awaited them.
They only knew their babies were breached in the mother's womb and she needed a cesarean section during delivery, as even the sex of the twins was not identified. As such, after their birth, Mr. Ikane was told by the medics to do everything possible for the twins to be separated or risk losing one or both in worst-case scenario. They were then referred to the Gynecological Hospital in Gusu, Yaoundé, where they spent some 8 months. In the midst of these happenings, Mr. Ikane had lost his job 3 months before his wife gave birth. But with the help of some goodwill ambassadors and the Cameroonian government, who took 100% care in sponsoring the surgery of the conjoined twin, they were separated successfully.
I want to seize this opportunity to thank all the goodwill ambassadors that stood by us financially, materially, spiritually, throughout the time that we were in the hospital with the children. They supported us greatly, even before the state came in play, because the government sponsored the surgery of the children, the Cameroon government, thanks to the presidential couple. We are so grateful for that.
But now, the children need medical follow-up once again in Turkey, and BT Media Group Foundation has donated a token while calling on the general public to do same.
BT Media have put up together a small token to support the father of the conjoined twins. We are using this opportunity to beg the population to do the same by supporting the family.
It is worth mentioning that the SOS donation call launched by BT Media Foundation has led to the contribution of 1.4 million francs CFA for baby Elizabeth and Mary. Onto something else now. Ex-students of PSS Mancon Pemexer have paid a visit to the Mancon Fun Palace to strengthen the bond between culture, PSS Mancon and Mancon community, as well as push peace and development. Charles Kibwa now tells us more from Bamenda.
Pekmesia Alumni Association, made up of former students that attended Presbyterian Secondary School PSS Mancon, paid an exchange visit to the Mancon Fondom, given PSS Mancon is one of its kind which connect with the culture.
Years old, and like the ex-students, we are here across different generations. So those of us who are elderly and we know something a little more about history and culture, when we come, we connect like this, we make sure we transmit also the values, so that those who are younger will uphold it and they will continue to do the same.
Received at the Mancon Fun Palace by a notable retired diplomat, Tower Chris, proud of the great men and women PSS has been able to produce, encourage Pekmesians to make the school shine, help build Mancon, push for peace and development.
We've had so many princesses and princes who have attended the school, and we have so many intellectuals who are coming up from the school who keep the bonds alive between the culture and the community, both communities, the PSS community and the Mancon community. PSS Mancon, created some 45 years ago, and land offered by the Mancon Fondom in the reign of His Majesty Fon III. The visit, 2 months after the enthronement of his successor, Fon IV, Pekmesian family wished the Fon grace, fortitude, and intelligence as they strengthen their bond alive between the culture and PSS Mancon and the Mancon community.
Due respect where due respect is, especially given the fact that PSS Mancon is in the grass field land, we respect tradition, so it's just normal that we are coming to pay due and giving Caesar what is meant for Caesar.
With a guided tour of the Mancon Palace and Museum, reconnect with culture and tradition irrespective of the modernity of time, connecting back to the root
of our differences in life as a whole. Education is very paramount and we cannot oversee its importance. And this back to school, if some of us didn't go to school, we wouldn't have been where we are. Equally, not all of us who go to school will be guarantee of success, but we all can agree that education is very important.
To the ex-students, education is very paramount. Pekmesians use the visit to encourage back to school, said if they never went to school, they wouldn't have been where they are.
That these youths come from Atuokon, where I come from, and
where my father gave the land. I'm happy that they've grown up, they are now full adults, contributing immensely to the wealth and knowledge and riches of this country.
Many more ex-students, not only PSS Mancon, but other schools within Mancon and Cameroon as a whole, were called to get back to their alma mater as traditional dance graced the day.
Let's now talk health. Prostate cancer is observed every year in the month of September by health experts, health advocates, and the general public to raise awareness about prostate health and prostate cancer. This cancer type mainly affects men above the age of 50, and every year more than 174,600 new cases are recorded, mostly in the later stage of the disease, as the early stage rarely shows its symptoms. Get full details in this report with Bokengo Worthy.
Accounting for an estimated 1.4 million cases globally and taking the lives of more than 375,000 men yearly, prostate cancer is the leading cause of cancer-related deaths in men worldwide.
Prostate cancer is a cancer of the prostate gland. The prostate gland is one of the glands of the male genitourinary system, which is located at the base of the urinary bladder, and it envelopes the very first part of the urethra. The urethra is that tube which carries urine from the bladder to the exterior during urination. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers worldwide. In fact, it is the second most common cancer in men and the fifth leading cause of cancer-related deaths worldwide.
According to Dr. Juvett Breeze, genes, abnormal cells mutation, vitamin D deficiency, age, race, family history, poor diet, smoking, and more are some risk factors that account for prostate cancer.
The first of these risk factors is age, increased age. Now, about 60% of people aged 65 and above have prostate cancer. That is 6 out of 10 persons who are aged more than 65 are at risk of having prostate cancer. We also have those with high socioeconomic status, as in those living in North America, those in North and Central Europe, and in Australia, who have an increased risk of developing prostate cancer. It's true that the incidence is not very high in blacks, but the few blacks who get to have prostate cancer are going to have a higher mortality compared to their white counterparts. There are many other risk factors, but these are kind of the main risk factors of prostate cancer.
Worth noting is the fact that
this particular disease is regularly known to be a silent disease. Most people who have prostate cancer, especially in the early stages, are not going to present with any symptoms. If at all they have symptoms, they may have what we call hematuria, or blood in urine. They may also have hematospermia, or blood in the ejaculate or sperm. They can also present with erectile dysfunction and urinary retention. Urinary retention, you can remember we mentioned earlier that the prostate gland is located around the first part of the urethra. And so if the cancer has started developing and it's developing in such a way that we can block this urethra, urine will not be able to flow. And when urine doesn't flow, we will get what they call urinary retention. In the advanced cases, the cancer is not just going to remain in the prostate gland, it's going to move into other parts of the body. For example, the vertebral column, which can result in back pain. It can move to lymph nodes around the body, resulting in enlarged, non-painful lymph nodes. It can also move to places such as the liver, resulting in pain in the upper part of the abdomen.
Bearing 5 stages, treatment and estimated 75% survival rate depends on the stage of diagnosis.
The treatment of prostate cancer is going to depend on the stage at which the disease has been diagnosed.
With early detection being key to surviving, every month of September, men are encouraged to eat healthy, engage in physical exercises, and visit the urologist for early diagnosis and successful treatment of prostate cancer.
Okengo Warri's report on prostate cancer concludes today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. I have been Eileen Sama, thanking you all for viewing. The news was produced by Ewane Eli, compiled and coordinated by Faith Tata. Have a blessed night until tomorrow. Bye.
Like what we are observing with our MPs today.